one.
You know what I forgot?
What?
We didn't even talk about like who was gonna like introduce the show, like bring in the show
Facts.
or anything like
Facts.
that. I didn't even realize that. But it's all good
Yeah,
though, because
for sure.
it's your boy Sutton Def here, simply over there. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Crazy times.
Crazy times, right? Crazy times. But I'm doing all right though. I'm hanging in there as a Ravens fan here. But for everybody watching right now, or whether you watch this after the fact, this is kind of like a new thing we got going on here. So of
Yeah,
course y'all know that guy over there. He's like super popular with the videos online, one of the best to do it in the game. And then you
appreciate
got me
that.
over here. I'm just a Ravens fan. I do a couple other things too, but yeah, we're starting a podcast together, so we hope that you guys like it. We think that we're really gonna enjoy this, so like if you
For sure.
enjoy this as well, make sure you like this video here and go ahead and subscribe to our channel. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah, man.
Shout out to
How do you
Sutton.
feeling? Yeah,
Shout out to you first of all, bringing it up because I would have never came with the idea, but he reached out to me on Twitter and I was like, you know what, let's do it. I'm so with his like when I make videos, I can't say how I feel, what I want to happen. So this is needed for sure for me.
exactly. Like our own kind of like platform to really do Ravens talk. Not even just Ravens talk. We were also discussing that too. We'll talk, of course, like NFL football as a whole when need be
Yeah,
and stuff like that, and then other stuff as well. Kind of, I guess, kind of gonna be like a umbrella podcast, but
yeah,
yeah.
I'm
We
with
already
it
got a couple people. We already got a couple people in here. Shout out to you guys in here in the chat. If you're in the chat and you haven't sounded off yet, just let us know you're in here, man. We love to see you guys. Austin, see we got. And yeah, I mean, is that your boy? You know him, fam.
Austin is my boy. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good now.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
All right. All right. So, yeah, I guess we're just gonna talk Ravens today. What happened yesterday, bro? I mean, I watched the whole game from start to finish, but how did you feel about it as a whole?
So did I. I'll be honest. First drive, I'm like, here we go again. It's
Mm-hmm.
third down. We run that option, and Lamar runs into Brad. Oh no, not even. Bradley Bozeman just gets obliterated right into
Yeah.
Lamar, and
Yeah.
I'm like, are we gonna do this again? But I'll be honest. I was calling out Greg Roman. I'm like, what are we doing? I know on Twitter, me and you at halftime. I'm like,
Right.
is somebody gonna say something? And
Yeah.
something was said, and Greg Roman that was a third and one or fourth and inches
Third and
when Lamar
inches.
the
The Lamar,
bootleg,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
his best play call of the year so far, without a doubt.
Yeah, man. I mean, for Greg Roman, his biggest issue is that like he was very predictable in a lot of times. Like
Yeah,
situations like we would run the ball with Lamar when like, it was like everybody in the stadium, everybody watching at home, everybody knows that Lamar is going to take the ball in this play. Um,
exactly.
and I just wanted that to stop happening, and it did. And I think like in the second half, we made those adjustments, and the adjustments is what really, really brought us back into that game. And shout out to Greg Roman for doing that. Like you said, we did
Honestly,
have that discussion during halftime. Like, hey, somebody needs to light a fire under the ass of all of these guys. Greg Roman, the players, Harbaugh,
Harbaugh, right?
everybody. Like
Somebody.
anybody needs to. But something must have happened, and I think what really ended up happening that second half was the adjustments in our up tempo offense.
Yeah,
And I was kind of like I was talking to you about that a little bit earlier. Like it seems like when Lamar is put into a situation where he can kind of flow and play with rhythm, he plays like he goes X Games mode. It's like Madden
oh,
Lamar.
that's good. Right.
Yeah, like bro, like he can't be stopped. It's like you got to think about it. In the first half, our offense was abysmal. The second half, though, Lamar comes out, he completes. He's 10 for 10 passing, so 100% completion rating, and he throws for like 138 or something like that, and runs in a touchdown. So he was very
Yeah,
efficient when we were running that kind of like that rhythmic up tempo offense, and that
yeah.
was something very refreshing. We really hadn't seen it, until like last year. So, well, since
He
like
was
last
spreading the
year, so
ball.
he was
That the
spreading the
ball was
ball
being.
around.
It was. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't. I know you remember watching Nick Boyle before Lamar. Like he's a whole different tight end. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw the catch he made yesterday. He just it was jump for it. I'm like Boyle. He's become like a top tight end.
he
All
is.
aspects. But I know Boykin had his catch. Hollywood was in there. I know more fans wanted to see Dez, but it's Dez. Like
Yeah, and we'll get
um
into that in a little bit.
yeah. But Lamar just looked like the Lamar of last year, second half.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah,
whatever they did, no matter who you brought, they couldn't stop it. And that fourth and three, shout out to J.K. Dobbins. The
yeah.
way he took the ball to the sideline and just got that first, that just changed the game. Whole way to change the
Right.
game.
Yeah, because we really didn't even run the ball that well yesterday. That's the crazy thing. Like I think
No.
we rushed for over 100 yards, but it was a very hard fought 100 yards rushing
Yeah.
game. Like
I
nobody
knew
really was breaking off big runs. But
I knew Lamar was our leading rusher for most of the game. I don't know if that's how it
yeah,
ended. I didn't check the stats, but I know he was our leading rusher for sure.
yeah, I think he had about 58 yards rushing, and I know we had a little bit over 100. So it was probably the rest was split between J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
But I think that, I mean, like we were saying, like that play calling in the second half, man, it was really second to none. Like we were just, they couldn't stop us, and
No,
like I said, it really seems to be like when Lamar is in that up tempo, like okay, let's get up and go mode, then he's kind of unstoppable. And I'm not sure, and it's kind of like been speculation whether or not Lamar was calling those plays, because they were happening so fast, and like when
yeah.
that happens, you see like he turns up. It happens. It actually happened 2 years ago back in the Chargers game in the playoffs, the wild
Yeah.
card game. Like when we were down like a bunch, and like he started coming back, like in that fourth quarter, he was calling those plays.
Okay. I didn't know
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah. So it's like it seems to be like when they give him the keys, he drives the ship in the right direction. So I think that just Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson, they just need to spend a little bit more time getting on the same page and understanding each other a little bit better, because I feel like Giro really restricts him a lot. Don't you think, or what do you think?
Yeah. I know. I don't know who brought it up, but I know that when he was, I saw it on Twitter. Apparently, we
Hmm.
wanted to keep Marty Morningweg for passing plays. I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
when you think about it, it's that I hate the play call. It's that play action. Everybody goes to the right side of the field,
Right.
and it just leaves the left side. Just you're not going to throw it there. And I
Yeah.
definitely agree with you. Like Roman, he has his running. The running play calls are beautiful. The
Yeah.
passing, it's second half,
It's
like we said yesterday, it was really good. But but the whole season, the passing plays, we haven't had the deep ball. Hollywood hasn't been there. Duvernay had the one deep catch against the Steelers. That's all I can think of, like a deep pass.
yeah, man. And I mean, I guess that kind of like it brings in, more Hollywood talk. Of course, Hollywood after the Steelers game, he only had like a couple catches. He did have a touchdown in that game, but that was pretty
Yeah,
much about it. But he was kind of frustrated. He voiced his opinions on Twitter after that game, saying basically, "Why have soldiers when you never use them?" And shout out to you for rocking the Hollywood Brown jersey. And I let
of
them see
course,
that. That thing is dope,
of
man.
course.
Show them
The
the
back,
back too. Look at
Hollywood,
that.
have to look at the details.
I like that. I like that. Shout out to, yeah. Where did you get that from? Actually, I might need to
So
order me one.
it was a Christmas gift, but it didn't
Mm.
fit, so I got it back. It was a birthday gift. Um,
Ah,
NFL shop, the Fanatics, you just make it.
okay, true. Yeah, I might have to customize me one of those. But going back to like Hollywood Brown, like he made that tweet last week after the Steelers game, and then this week in the first quarter he had a drop pass. You guys saw in that out route. And that kind of
Yes,
like, everybody took to Twitter after that. They're like, oh, yeah, how you going to be
the
tweeting but
soldiers.
not catching the ball?
Yep.
No, I saw a couple people have some differing opinions on that. And I don't know if you guys that are watching live now, let us know if you did see this play or that play. Do you guys think that that was a bad throw from Lamar, or do you think that Hollywood
Ooh.
absolutely should have caught that? Because our guy Sonny SCG Sports, he said that it was a bad throw. And Graven said that Lamar put it on him. So I was kind of like, I felt both ways. Like, he could have threw it a little bit better, but Hollywood probably should have caught that.
Yeah, I feel like it's that thing. Like if it touches your hands, you should catch it.
Yeah.
And he bobbled it too, so it was there to be made.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we're not talking about like, oh, that's a what if. Will we win the game if you catch that? Because it didn't
Right.
happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, man, Hollywood, I feel like he'll be fine. It just really depends on what approach we take, for the offense next week, right? So, and just going forward. Like if we go with this approach where it's just kind of like we're trying to I like to call it like we like to play rock paper scissors with teams a lot,
Yeah,
like on defense. It's like, are you going to cheat up and try to stop the run? If you're going to try to do that, we're going to try to throw over the top of you, that sort of thing. And a lot of times we get beat because I feel like we play a little bit too slow, and we're a little bit more predictable, way too
very.
predictable. Like you said, like Greg Roman a couple years back, John Harbaugh wanted to keep Marty Morningweg because he was a better passing offensive coordinator
Yeah,
than Greg Roman was, and that was just a well-known fact. Greg Roman having that extensive, history and like, having successful running teams like the 49ers in the
yeah,
Super Bowl in 2012. Um, but yeah, I think that like with with that, I think we do need to like kind of take that approach to the offense that we took in the second half last week. Like we should make it more up tempo because when we're keeping defenses on their heels, it seems like we perform a lot better. You would agree, or
I'd 100% agree. And it was that first drive of the second half, and it was us fumbled it. But if he scores that touchdown, that's the best drive we put together all year. It was just
absolutely
fluid, no huddle down their throats, and they couldn't do anything about it.
couldn't
And
stop
I
it.
think if we play that way, I'm feeling good against the Patriots. I know they're playing right now. I expect them to beat the Jets, but
Yeah.
next week, I expect us to win that as well. I mean, Cam
Mm-hmm.
hasn't looked like the Cam that we're used to, but if we
Right.
can play our game, I expect us to win that and just play how we play. Don't be this team that we're not. We know
Yeah.
we run the ball first, we'll pass it second. So, what do you think about that? How do you think if what is the way we beat the Patriots?
I mean, honestly, man, like, so we know that Bill Belichick, he's seen Lamar one time before,
Yeah,
um, which basically means that he's gonna have a game plan set in place to try to slow down or stop Lamar coming in. So I think we
yeah,
need to take the same game plan that we utilize against the Colts against the Patriots. And one thing it's gonna take some conditioning, not only from like our offensive line, but from our tight ends, our receivers, because there's a lot of blocking that goes on those like up tempo plays. And it's
yeah.
like, okay, get to the line, get set, hike, block. All right, plays over. We're hurrying up. Let's do it again. Hike, block. It's just back to back to back to back. So it can tire out an offense, that's for sure. But it can also tire out a defense because on offense you control the pace, right?
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think I feel like we need to start utilizing that advantage more when we're on offense. That's what
I
I
get
think.
that. Now I want to ask you this. You brought the tight
Hmm.
ends. Do you think we need a third tight end?
A third tight end.
Because we traded Hayden Hurst and we didn't.
Yeah.
I know we had Jarrell Adams in. We had Breland and Wolf, the two undrafted tight ends.
Right.
But do you think we need that third one? Would that maybe get this offense clicking? Them three tight end sets we were running last year.
The three tight end sets. I think that we could benefit from having a third tight end. Hayden Hurst, I feel like his value kind of went like under the radar until he was gone. We're kind of missing
Yeah,
him now.
for sure.
But I do think that like I think we're just fine with Nick Boyle and Mark Andrews as long as Mark Andrews can continue to be that guy, step up. I know for the past couple weeks he hasn't. But
Yeah,
if he can step up and be that like just big clutch guy, one-on-one coverage, you can kind of throw it up to him a 50-50 ball, he's going to come down with it. That's the guy we know him to be. As long as he can maintain that role, then I feel like we don't need to have those three tight end sets anymore. And I feel like that's one of the main reasons why we got rid of Hayden Hurst in the first place because we knew Mark Andrews could be that guy. And
I
Nick
got you.
Boyle's a good blocker. And Mark Andrews, shout out to Mark Andrews
Oh,
on that Lamar
oh,
touchdown, that block.
oh,
Oh my
oh my
goodness.
gosh! He took.
He
I think.
yeah.
I think that was Justin Houston too.
Oh my, yeah. I don't know who it was, but
He took it so.
he blocked him like 10 yards out. That was like a 10 yard block.
That
Like,
was beautiful. And in
oh
the
my
end zone,
goodness.
he didn't even have to push him and pancake him the way he did. It was just disrespectful.
Right, it's just disrespectful. But
Yeah,
yeah, we all love
Mandrews.
Mandrews. We love
We,
Mandrews, man. That
yeah,
might be my next jersey, honestly.
I think it
You
has
know.
to. I've been thinking about it. I think he's next in line to get that extension too.
Yeah, I need this second half of the season. I need some performance from him, right? I need him to come up clutch big with like some touchdowns. I need some good stuff from Mark Andrews for me to really really be sold cuz I love him. I really do. But I want to see him and Lamar kind of get that same, mojo that they were getting earlier in the season and even last season too.
And then I think when I think of Mark Andrews, I remember he was really quiet his rookie year, but that
Right.
week 16 Saturday night game against the Chargers, remember that
Yeah.
long
Mhm.
touchdown Lamar
Yeah.
just threw it over, and that
Perfect
that was kind of
pass.
that was the start of Mark Andrews. He just
Yeah.
broke out.
Yeah, and yeah, Kenny brings up a good point here. Andrews, he needs to show up in big games. Like big games are just, oh my goodness, man. Like
I remember
he
week
just
three, the
seems to fold.
Chiefs. The Chiefs, he had that touchdown and he just dropped it, and that changed the game. That still
Man,
is in my memory. Just it was there.
engraved in my memory. I mean, I have it still in my memory last year against the Titans when he dropped that pass and it ended up being intercepted because it got tipped up. Now, of course, Lamar could have put it on him maybe a little bit better, but like you said just 5 minutes ago, if it hits you in the hands, you kind of
Yeah,
got to catch that, especially as a big man tight end. That's your role to kind of go up and snag those balls out of the air, come down with that first down yardage. So, in big games, we definitely do need to see Mandrews perform a lot better. be a lot more consistent. But yeah,
I see Wizard edits. Pittman is a threat. Pittman is a huge threat from
yeah,
USC. I remember
yeah.
looking him at a college. I actually wanted the Ravens to get him. It was between him and Denzel Mims, and yeah, he is a threat. He was tearing up Terrell Bonds yesterday, but shout out
He
to Terrell
was.
Bonds. He held his own the second half. The whole defense held their own.
Yeah, they did. Shout out to the defense just in general. They allowed those 10 points and then after that it was just lights out, shut down football. Like after that turnover it seemed like they were really like on their stuff and I mean that's what you love to see out of a defense. Like I think Harbaugh said it yesterday, Don Wink Martindale, he called one of his best games
Yeah,
you know, pitching a shutout in the second half, against
that
that
was.
offense.
And Philip
So,
Rivers, they were. I mean, I know Marcus Peters. He called him a future Hall of Famer. So
yeah.
holding someone like him to no point. I know that they had 1 yard the whole
One
third
yard
quarter.
in the third quarter. I was like, wow. Yeah.
That's okay. Since we're talking about it, that Marcus Peters interception,
Right. Oh
catch,
man.
no catch.
So let me take you through how I experienced that. So I saw that play go down, and off first reaction, I'm like, okay, obviously he didn't catch the ball. Let's move on here. So I go take a bathroom break while I'm watching the game. I come back and they're still reviewing it. And I'm like, what are they reviewing it for? And my buddy, he's like, oh yeah, that we challenged it. I'm like, why are we challenging? Why are we even wasting a time out here? You know what I'm saying? And he was like
Yeah,
agreeing with me. And eventually, like 2 minutes later, they're like, oh yeah, it was a catch and then a fumble. And then they kind of broke it down and explained it. And I was like, okay, it makes sense, right? So he caught the ball. He took 3 steps backwards, which, it registers as a football move. So technically, he caught the ball and then he fumbled it. So I think that is definitely the right call for sure. After further review, it could have went either
yeah,
way because like people say he didn't have control because it was kind of like on his fingertips, kind of. He didn't really have it like
yeah.
secure,
Exactly.
but he had it enough to where he wasn't gonna let go of it.
I definitely agree. I mean, when I saw it, I'm like, you know what? Challenge it. Why not? I was like, because it's weird because Des Bryant, his first game in all these years, and there's a catch play that goes either way. Did Des catch it? Did Des not catch it?
Right.
I mean, same thing. He took the 3 steps and it dropped. I mean, as a Ravens fan, I'm going to say he caught it, obviously. I'm just
Yeah.
happy it's not my team on the other side.
Yeah, if it was my team on the other side, though, I would still understand, because it's like at the end of the day, he did catch the ball and he took 3 steps, not one, not two, but 3 steps.
Three.
So he definitely had it. And like I said, of course, he didn't corral it all the way, but he had it just enough to where you can deem he had possession of the football. So I like the call overall, going forward. And somebody made the argument, I believe on ESPN this morning, they were saying, oh, if it was the other way around and if it was like a receiver and they were trying to
Yeah.
deem that as a catch, they probably wouldn't have, said it was a catch. And I don't know. I feel like that's really, up to the refs, discretion kind of. But I think it was definitely a catch though.
You're 100% right because if certain referees will let that play go on, and if a receiver catches it and then let's say he fumbles it like Peters did, I mean, there's a case now because it's a fumble. So it honestly depends with the refs too. It depends what they view as a catch and what they don't view as a catch.
Yeah, I would say like discretion. And that's the crazy thing about football because at the end of the day, it comes down to like these humans who can make mistakes. They can have errors, like mental errors and things like that. So
Yeah.
you really just got to be on your stuff at all times. But the Gat Attack, shout out to you. He says, who do y'all think should get the most looks at running back? Yeah, I'll let you go ahead on that one.
I'll be honest, Gus,
Mm,
2018. He's been with Lamar every year. He's averaged over 5 yards a carry his whole career. It's
yeah.
just hard to say no to that. And I just feel like he's just so underutilized. He's underappreciated.
Oh,
If
yeah.
if any let's if Derrick Henry he's doing this, he's going to be talked about on ESPN. A Dalvin Cook, and Aaron
Yeah.
Jones. I just feel like, but this comes up. Maybe we're not using him as much. Maybe to get him at a cheaper price for next year because I don't think Ingram will be here next year.
No, he's done.
So I'm thinking maybe the money, but I definitely think Gus deserves the most looks. Use him, like on the first down, the second down, and have JK for the third or as a screen back. What do you think?
Oh man, I agree. When you say most looks at running backs, so just handoffs and carries, things like that, I do think Gus, because he does give us the best opportunity to just gain yardage, just positive yardage. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the type of guy who is going to spend too much time in the backfield shuffling his feet around. No, he sees the hole, he hits the hole, and he hits it hard. And that's what we like about Gus Edwards, right? So,
Yeah,
you know,
easily.
just a guy who's just every time he gets the football, you know he's getting 3 yards at least. And 3 yards
Exactly.
on 3 yards on first down is like, okay, we can work with that on second and third down. Sometimes he'll get 4 or 5 yards and makes it that much easier on us. But definitely when it comes to like carries and handoffs, stuff like that, I think Gus should be number one. So I agree with you there. But in terms of like, pass catching backs and stuff like
Yeah.
that, J.K. Dobbins
JK,
all the way.
easily.
Because you get him out in space. Oh my. J.K.
JK out.
Dobbins, he's hard to bring
Oh,
down, isn't he?
what did you see his cuts yesterday? The way he was just
Yeah.
cutting. Oh my God.
He's amazing,
That
man.
that's something special. And this just the Gus and the JK thing, that's a serious 1-2. If we can keep
Oh
that
yeah.
for years to come along with as Lamar keeps progressing, that's scary.
It is.
But
It is.
also Gus he's getting these yards behind such a battered offensive line
Yeah. That's
without
true
Ronnie
too.
Stanley. And I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of Tyree Phillips anyway. I was hoping Fluker would be in there, but even now, I'm glad to see that we were able to get the run game going, or just getting first downs behind such a battered O line.
Right.
It's been hard to watch. I think we took Yonder for granted, to be honest.
Oh, we
I really do.
definitely did. Now that he's gone, it's like, oh my gosh, like we really have to. Lamar really has to kind of put his eyes down a little bit more often, kind of making sure that nobody's ripping through or tearing through the offensive line because we don't have Marshall Yonder there. And now we don't even have Ronnie Stanley for the remainder of the season. So we're just kind of like patchwork all over the offensive line. But I think, again, if we can run that up-tempo offense and kind of
Yeah,
tire out the defensive line, the other team's front seven, I feel like we'll be in very, very good shape. Yeah, as long as we're not like, just being super predictable and that sort of thing, I feel like we'll be good. But when it comes to that running back question, definitely think Gus is number one, J.K. Dobbins number two. And whatever happened to Justice Hill?
I don't know. I mean, I know he was hurt. I know week 4 he came back and he was a gunner on a punt,
Mm-hmm.
and he made a great tackle. He
Yeah,
actually, it was a great hit. I saw he was in for a few third downs yesterday, but never really got a look.
right.
But I don't want him to be left out because I definitely think there's some potential there. I mean, he had the Alvin Kamara comparisons out of college, and
Yeah.
I really hope we can maybe use him next year. But I just don't want to see him go and just be another one that got away.
The thing is, the backfield is just way too crowded. So it's like,
Exactly.
we've got Gus, we've got J.K. Dobbins, we've got Lamar Jackson who can
Yeah.
take some of those carries. So it's like there's really not a whole lot of room for a guy like Justice Hill, and it's sad to say because I thought Justice Hill was going to be our J.K. Dobbins, and it
Yeah.
ended up not being that way. So um, the Gat Attack says bust is Hill. You mean
I don't think you can call him a
you
bust.
can't? I don't think you can call him a bust either. I don't
He
think
was
that's
like a
fair because he
6th round
really,
pick.
yeah, he never really had the opportunity either.
Yeah. And he
And he
wasn't a
showed
first, second round
flashes.
pick.
He
Yeah.
showed flashes last season, I believe. So,
I mean,
um,
him and Gus ran all over that Steelers team week 17 last year.
yeah, they did.
And that
They
wasn't
did.
their back. They were still playing for a playoff spot, and we knocked them
Yeah,
out. So
that's
there's
true.
definitely something there.
So the Charger fanatic, shout out to you. He says, "Who do you guys think is better right now, the Ravens or the Steelers?"
I mean,
Man,
they just beat us. I got
they
to say
beat
the
us.
Steelers.
Yeah, people could argue, like, they still think the Ravens are better because they beat us, yes, but they did not outplay us.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
like we outgained them in pretty much every statistical category that there is. We lost that game mainly because of turnovers, right? And then a couple of questionable coaching calls when we were up 10. I wish this channel would have been made a week ago. We'd have talked about that. But
Oh
we get to play the
man.
Steelers again in a couple of weeks. So I'm sure we'll have a cool little live stream going for that. But in terms of right now, if I have to think objectively, not subjectively, because I'm a Ravens fan, I would definitely just have to say the Steelers. Not
Yeah.
just because they beat us, but they're undefeated right now, and like they're finding ways to win games. And you gotta take your hat off to a guy like Mike Tomlin, who is one of the most winningest coaches like in
Yeah.
our generation, in our era, like in the Ravens era, that is. Like
Yeah.
he's going crazy right now. He's never had a losing season. Last year,
That's
I think
hard.
they went 8-8 without Big
Yeah,
Ben.
without
So
and they had injuries. I know Connor didn't play most of the year.
yeah,
They got no AB their first year, no Le'Veon. I mean Le'Veon Bell didn't play the year before, but they had a lot of
right.
change. And the fact they still went 8-8 and were in the race for a playoff spot, not only a lot about them, but just their front office too. They
Yeah.
develop they can develop receivers like no other team in the league, and I'll debate that forever.
Oh man, can they, man? I'll tell you one thing. Before this season started, I did a live stream with Sonny SCG Sports and Joe Nubo. And we were talking about who we wanted in the draft, and I was like Chase Claypool, Chase Claypool, Chase Claypool. I think we should get that guy.
Yeah,
And everybody was telling me like, oh no, he's like a glorified tight end, this and that. He's not going to be that good. And now look at Chase Claypool. He's just balling out. And I think, of course, a lot of that I do think he was a special talent, but also the wide receivers coaching in Pittsburgh is just second to none almost.
easily.
The way they develop their wide receivers is just ridiculous. It's something to marvel at, honestly. And I wish we had that for the Ravens. I wish we didn't have to always buy old guys like a Dez Bryant or Anquan Bolden or a Steve
Derek
Smith
Mason,
Sr. You
Michael
know what I mean?
Crabtree.
Yeah,
Oh
like
man.
we always got to get like the veteran guys. Like we can never like start guys from the bottom and just kind of like work them up. We're trying to do that with Hollywood, but I don't know. Does Hollywood have a ceiling? Like, do you think Hollywood has a ceiling on this offense?
I definitely do. I mean, I don't want to compare this offense to the Chiefs offense, but he's definitely our version of Tyreek Hill. He's that speedster. And if we
Yeah,
want him to be that part of the Tyreek Hill, then use him like him. Run
right.
those jet sweeps. Run those peak zone bubbles where he goes behind Lamar. And instead of Lamar handing it off, why not throw it to Hollywood once or twice? I
Yeah,
know we've had Duvernay run behind him. We've had Hollywood run behind him, but it's never been I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't
yeah,
remember him throwing it behind him. But I definitely think he fits an offense like this. He's not that blocking receiver like a Boykin is, but
yeah,
he's someone there to pop the top off the defense.
yeah.
And we just need to see that. I think he's going to have his breakout game soon. I don't know who it's going to be against, but it's going to happen. Like his
Okay.
week 1 game last year, where he just
Yeah,
came up out of nowhere. And
two
I
touchdowns.
yes. And he burnt Minka Fitzpatrick. So maybe Thanksgiving night. Why not?
Maybe. Hopefully, man. Us as Ravens fans, we want to see our playmakers make plays, and we really haven't seen Hollywood Brown make a big, like splash play since the Titans game in the playoffs last year. Like when he made
Yeah.
that like what was it, like 30 or 40-yard catch in between like three guys
One-handed
in
catch.
traffic. Yeah, one-handed catch. We really haven't seen any like spectacular highlights like that from him this season at
Mm-mm.
all, and that's in large part because we really don't go down the field that much, which I don't know why. And maybe since we have Dez now, maybe we can kind of
Maybe
use both of them. Imagine us having like Dez on the field, Hollywood on the field, and then Duvernay
in the
as
slot.
well in
Oh,
the slot. I
that's
think
something.
that could be a very lethal combination with Mark Andrews maybe leaking off the line.
That's
So
something.
yeah, we'll see. We'll
Also,
see.
shout out to Willie Snead because these past 2 games, he showed up. I mean, he's
Yeah,
had his catches. I know he was really good under Flacco, and
yeah.
then he's been here with Lamar. I mean, he's not a name you're gonna marvel at, but he's a guy who's there. He's gonna get you yards. So shout out
Yeah.
to him because he's done his thing too.
Yeah, shout out to old man Willie Snead, man. Like Willie Snead, he's a solid player. He just doesn't have like, how do you say, like he doesn't have that burst to kind of like really separate himself
No.
sometimes, like he'll catch the ball and he'll get like hawked down from a guy who like started like 5 yards behind him. It's like, bro, I know
Yeah,
you can like, outrun
he
these guys. Like maybe he just doesn't
is your
have it, but
receiver.
yeah.
I just got this stat. Joe Flacco just passed Joe Montana for 20th on the NFL all-time passing yards list. So shout out to Joe Flacco.
Shout out to Joe, man.
I
Shout
mean, he's
out to
still in the
Cool
league
Joe
doing his thing.
Flacco.
I'll always have love for Joe. And
Always,
it was a
man.
Flacco to Perryman 50-yard touchdown.
Perriman too? Oh my
Right?
gosh. I remember that guy, man. Oh, that brings back bad memories, very bad memories.
Yeah.
Um,
But
Shoot,
actually,
man. Yeah.
the left tackle for the Patriots got hurt. So that kind of brings me into what I want to talk about next.
Sure, yeah.
So the Patriots may have a little injury in their line. We have an injury on our defensive line and Calais Campbell out for 2 to 4 weeks.
Right.
How are you thinking about that? Who's going to step up in his place? And is it a big loss for us? I personally think it is.
Well, it's definitely a huge loss for us. Like whenever you lose a 6'8", 300-pound guy on your defensive line, it's gonna be a huge loss. Even
Yeah,
simply just because of like how big he is, how tall he is, how he can kind of get his hands up at the line, like really getting passing lanes and stuff like that because he's so tall. And he's just a monster, bro. He will throw his man to the side and like just get after the quarterback, which is what we love to see as Ravens fans. Which is why when you told me earlier today that he was gonna be out 2 to 4 weeks,
yeah,
that made me very very sad. I was very very sad as a Ravens fan, and I hope that he's back for the Steelers game.
I
So we
do.
can use him in that game. But in his place, I feel like stepping up is gonna have to be in there. I saw they had Justin Matabike out there yesterday, kind of filling in for him on certain plays, and I'm a big fan of Justin Matabike as well. I feel like
So
he
am I.
needs more reps. Like he's the type of defensive lineman who he like tears through the line, like when a play starts, he's the guy who like he's always fighting, he's always trying to like get to the quarterback. He's like a zombie, right, trying to tear through like a wall or something like
Easily.
that, and he's just like brains, like he's like that kind of guy. So I love that, and I just love to see him get after the football. So I feel like he needs more reps. He'll get them now, so we'll get to see over these next couple of weeks. Like you said, we have the Patriots, and I believe we have the Titans after that, and then I think we have the Steelers again.
That
So we'll see.
he couldn't have got hurt at the worst time possible because
Yeah.
when I was looking at his highlights when he was with Jacksonville, they see the Titans twice a year.
Yeah.
And he met Derrick Henry at the line of scrimmage and just laid him out. Henry fumbled. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
he's the reason why we went there and got Calais Campbell. It's because
Yeah.
Henry ran us apart last year in the playoffs, and now we're not even going to have him. But I think let's look at what the Steelers did because Derrick Henry didn't do anything against them.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a good game against the Bears, I believe, either. So maybe he can break out this week and then go back to a slump against us. But
Yeah.
that's still something to look out. But speaking of Matabike, he had a play yesterday where he ran down the running back from behind. And I didn't know he was fast like that.
Which play was that?
It was a second or third down. It was like a halfback draw of the middle. And they're actually 92. He just caught him by the legs behind him, ran after him. I'm like,
See,
okay.
you love to see it. You love to see a good motor out of guys
Yeah.
like that, who just never give up on the play. They're always coming after the ball, trying to make a play. That's why I like Matabike, and I'm glad that he's finally going to get his reps. And I saw somebody else put in the chat, Yannick Ngakoue is also going to have to step up as well. And I believe our guy Sonny SCG Sports, he had tweeted yesterday. He said that he needs to see like a Yannick Ngakoue sighting today, like
Yeah.
during today's game, like basically saying he needs to play well because we put that value into him, trying to get him. So, and I definitely agreed with that. I haven't really seen too much from him yet. Of course, he's had some good hustle plays and some good quarterback pressures and things like that. But
Yeah.
I think as he gets he's getting his feet wet with the defense, kind of familiarizing himself with Don Wink Martindale's scheme. And once the chemistry kind of sets itself in, listen, it's still early. What is it, like week 9 just passed? We just went to
Yeah.
week 8 or 9?
Week 9.
Week 9. I wouldn't say it's early, but like we still have a little bit of time. I say like give it about 3 games. Yannick, that defensive line, that front 7 is gonna be ready, stout.
Yeah.
As long as nobody else gets hurt, Calais Campbell comes back, that defensive line is going to be ready. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, speaking of like availability and things like that, Marlon Humphrey. So he was put on the COVID list, IR list. What was it? I don't know how many days ago, but will it have been 14 days, coming
So
up to this game?
I believe it's 10. I think it's 10 days. I was watching Harbaugh's conference earlier. I
Yeah.
think it's 10 days. So I think he should be good to play, but Harbaugh didn't say anything. Like, you know how he is. He won't give them any clues.
Right.
But I think he should be good to play. But if he doesn't play, I was really impressed with Marcus Peters yesterday.
Oh
He's
man, Marcus Peters.
he was and even he was I know they had the helmet to helmet hit on Lamar. He was out in the field
Yeah.
defending for him. So I'm like,
Yeah.
if I'm on a team, I want Marcus Peters on my side.
Right.
I don't want to hear his trash talk, and I don't want him to just make a play against me either.
He's the type of player where, of course, you have to take the good with the bad. Because,
Yeah.
he'll have a couple plays where it'll be like a deep pass interference play, and he was obviously like holding the guy or something like that. But then he'll have other plays where just somehow, some way, he ends up with the football.
Yeah,
And it's just like, oh, Marcus Peters, there he goes again, forcing a fumble. There he goes again, getting an interception like he did yesterday, just making a play on the football. So when it comes to like making plays, like he can do it with or without Marlon Humphrey on the field, which is a great sign. Because when
exactly.
Marlon Humphrey comes back, Marlon Humphrey's even more of a playmaker. Like he'll
Yeah,
strip the ball, run for a touchdown.
that fruit
You know,
punch, that
the
that
fruit
punch.
punch.
Oh my
You
gosh,
can't beat
that's
it.
no,
You cannot beat
no.
that.
And then
But
also think about the defense. LJ Fort was out yesterday, and
right.
one of my favorite players, and you really couldn't tell. Malik Harrison and Chris Board, they stepped up as well.
Yeah, there were a couple plays where I felt like we could have benefited having LJ Fort. Like on some of those like reverse plays that they were running like earlier in the game. I
Hmm.
felt like LJ Fort's the type of player where like he snuffs out those type of plays really, really well. And he is always there. He's cutting the correct angle in order to make like the running back force themselves outside or run into like, defenders to get
Yeah,
tackled. So I feel like once we get LJ Fort back, we'll be even better. It sucks that we have Calais Campbell out, but LJ
that
Fort,
injury
yeah,
bug,
that injury
that injury
bug,
bug.
man. And this year it's just crazy because guys can get injured, guys can get sick. You never know. So it's like, man, we just gotta hope that our team can stay as safe as possible,
Agreed,
on and off the field.
agreed. I know it's not even just us around the league. There was that one week where just every 5 minutes somebody was getting hurt. I think it was week two because I know Tavon went down too that week. I think it was week two. I know McCaffrey got
Mm-hmm.
hurt. The
Yeah.
whole Niners defensive line went down. So I mean, I just really hope, as you hate seeing injuries, no matter who it is.
Right.
I don't, I don't want to see anybody from our rival teams get hurt because it just takes away from it. So I just hoping, health to everybody out there in the NFL for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the AFC as a whole.
Okay.
So the AFC right now is a very interesting conference because, of course, you have like your Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs. They are still, to me at least, they're the top dogs. It's a shame. I don't understand why. I don't know why the Steelers never have to play the Chiefs, like ever. But they never do until the playoffs. So I guess they'll get a shot this year, maybe, unless we have anything to say about that. But of course, for me, you have the Chiefs, you have the Steelers, you have us, and what's the other team right now?
Tight.
And
You got Titans.
the Titans as well.
So I
So
think it's
yeah,
7 teams now.
yeah, that's
So
true.
there's the three wild. We're one of the wild card teams, and then
Right.
the other two, the Raiders and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So honestly, shout out to the Dolphins because they
Yeah, they're
were the
balling.
laughing stock last year, and now they're just
Yeah.
balling. So and
Yeah.
it's Brian Flores, great coach. Like what he's done there, second to none. Um,
Yeah.
but AFC, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. It's the Chiefs to lose. Like if you ask me right now who's going to be in the Super Bowl, and if you get it wrong, you got to lose a limb. I'm saying the Chiefs. I just can't see a
Yeah.
team beating them. They're just such a great team. They have their hiccups, but they're just going to get better as time goes on. And
Yeah.
Mahomes plays better when the lights are brighter.
Right. And that's the most important part. Like Mahomes, like he really steps up to the plate when he needs to. And I just don't think that the Steelers are ready for something like that. And yeah, it's Boz here says the Steelers have been playing the Chiefs for years. Let us have our time off. It's like, nah, man. If we gotta see the Chiefs like once a year, y'all gotta
You
see
were
the
playing the
Chiefs
Alex
once a
Smith
year.
Chiefs. That's not the
Yeah,
Mahomes
y'all
Chiefs.
weren't playing the Mahomes Chiefs. Y'all have only played them like one time and they
But
lost.
I think so. The schedule goes because we play the other division winners.
Yeah,
So yes, we played the Chiefs, but in saying with that, we play the Patriots from the AFC East. The
yeah,
Steelers have a date with the Bills in a few weeks. So you know
yeah.
what? I'm happy with not playing the Bills because they look scary. Josh Allen, I think, deserves MVP, tons of votes because he's doing his thing right now.
Really? You think Josh Allen deserves MVP?
Did you? He's definitely in the conversation. I mean,
He's in the conversation.
I had Russ up there, but they played yesterday, and Josh Allen, he balled out. He
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 did ball
balled
out.
out.
He did ball out. But I think it's more so about like who's gonna do this throughout the longevity of the season.
That's right. That's
Like
true.
on the season, Russell Wilson does have better numbers than
That's
Josh
true.
Allen. Yesterday was a good game, and it kind of felt like a blowout that game, but the Seahawks, they had their moments where they roared back, they kept it a little bit close, and then they just kind of got pulled away from towards the end. But yeah, let's see. Got some things in the
Ah,
chat here. God
my
Baby
guy,
Productions. He says worst 8-0 team ever, just barely held on versus the Cowboys. Man, I was hoping the Cowboys would have beat the
man.
Steelers
Here's
last
the
night.
thing. My guy, God Baby, is going through it. He's a huge Bucks fan. I was texting him last
Oh.
night, and this man, he turned off the game. I'm like, you guys got a chance, man. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know what to say to a 38. Like, you have such a good team,
Yeah, there's no
but
excuse
then
for
again,
that.
like that was us week 3, but we stepped up. We were getting blown out the first half, but we came back.
Yeah,
But the Bucks are a good team. They'll make the playoffs. Don't worry. But
yeah.
worst 8-0 team. I don't know. I think that was the Patriots last year because they came to the bank Sunday Night Football, and Lamar just had his way with them.
But see, that's the thing though. Like the Patriots weren't bad. Like they were good. They were a good 8-0. Remember, like leading up to that game, their defense was just terrorizing teams. Like that was the same year that Sam Darnold was like he played the Patriots. He said he was seeing ghosts against that defense. Like going into that
Oh,
game, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, the Patriots defense. They're gonna shut Lamar down. Yada yada yada. This and that." And we ended up handling business. So I think that definitely going into this week, Belichick's going to try to devise a plan to try to, slow down Lamar.
easily.
But just talking about the AFC a little bit more, though, like you said, Josh Allen and the Bills, they're actually 7-2 now,
Yeah,
which is very impressive. The Chiefs are 8-1, Steelers 8-0. Dang, we're really getting up there in the season now. You think about it, like just a couple
it's
weeks
gone
ago, it
by.
was like week 1,
And
right?
I'll be honest, I missed the preseason this year. Like something about
Yeah,
watching those no-name guys just go out there and do
yeah.
their thing, and even just going to a preseason game. It's just
Hmm.
there's no stress. You're there to have fun.
There to have a good time. I went to a Ravens preseason game, I think the beginning of last year, and we played the Redskins. And the majority of that game, I believe it was Trace McSorley playing, and
The goat,
that was the
the
goat,
goat,
Trace McSorley. He
the
was definitely
goat.
throwing it on a dime too. I was definitely liking what I was seeing from Trace McSorley. But yeah, preseason games, I definitely miss those a lot. They're very refreshing because when you go like
Yeah,
months and months without any football, and then you see like NFL football, no matter who it is, as long as they're wearing those jerseys with the NFL patch right there, you're gonna love it. You're gonna watch it. So we definitely did miss the preseason. Our players also missed the preseason a lot as well.
yeah,
Like we got rookies who were just thrown into the fire this year, and some of them are producing really, really well, like Patrick Queen. You
man.
know,
How he fell to 28. I remember I was sitting here watching the draft, and I'm seeing like, okay, Kenneth Murray was taken. That's what I wanted to be honest. I didn't want Patrick. I wanted Kenneth Murray. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
well, Queen's still there because linebacker was a huge need, and the
right,
Saints were on the board, and he's from Louisiana. I'm like, there he goes, and they
yeah,
didn't take it. I'm like, we're really about to get Patrick Queen, and DeCosta did his thing,
yeah,
picked him, and he's produced. I definitely think he's up there for defensive rookie of the year. You can tell me if
mm,
I'm he's just been making plays and he doesn't look like a rookie. The first few weeks, yeah, he did, but he hasn't made that many mistakes.
mm,
That's a credit to Wink for putting him in the right scheme. And you know, he draws
yeah,
out the
definitely.
screenplays. He's fast as I don't know what for a linebacker, just fast as hell. And he's just doing his thing. So I'm happy he's on my side because I even Steeler fans love him. I mean, that says
Yeah,
something.
man.
That says something.
He's a beast, man, for sure. Let's see. We got another question here from Dr. Didi. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my dog barking in the background. I do have a dog. Um, can you hear that? Can you hear my dog?
Just a little bit, not that bad.
A little bit? Okay, cool. So, Dr. Didi says Greg Roman is a problem. And we talked about that just a little bit
Earlier,
more, kind of
yeah.
touched on it. But yeah, Greg Roman, if he can't get it together consistently, like, I feel like I liked the second half adjustments that we made in the second half, like fiery passion that we came out with, and we just kind of
Yes.
crushed it. But I would like that same sense of urgency from the first quarter.
I
I
agree
feel like,
100%.
yeah, it shouldn't have to come down to, okay, we're kind of getting our butts kicked. Of course, we were only down by like, what, 3 points at the half. But
Yeah, 10-7. And our past 20 games, we losing at halftime, we hadn't won.
yeah,
So we came back. I
yeah,
mean, I know it's 3 points, but that 3 points in the playoffs, you never know. So Shout out
Yeah.
to Lamar Jackson and the whole coaching staff. We came
Yeah,
back and we won.
man. Lamar, he just and I touched on this earlier too. Like he literally went like Madden mode. Like he was
Yeah,
playing like he was in Madden. Like that scramble and the the bootleg around, bro, and just also like some of the throws he was making. Like he was 10 for 10 passing, 10 for 10 passing in the second half. Like he did not
not
miss.
not bad for a running back, I guess. I
Not
mean,
bad for a running back, exactly. So I feel like as long as he gets his opportunities and he gets that rhythm back, we'll be fine. But we gotta do this. We gotta carry the same energy going into the Patriots game. That game is Sunday night. It's on prime time. People will be watching. So it's just one of those games where he has to go out there. And I know the Patriots really aren't that good, but this is a game you have to kind of make a statement. This is kind of like a statement
exactly.
game, right? We beat the Colts, and now we got to keep it going. What were you about to say though?
I'm just taking a look at our schedule. The
Mm-hmm.
Patriots, then the Steelers, the Titans at home, and then we have the Steelers on Thanksgiving, and then the Cowboys the next Thursday as well. So three
Mm-hmm.
out of our next. I'm sorry. Then we have the Browns. So four out of our next five games, prime
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm.
So we're gonna be under the lights. I mean, we got to show up. Uh, we can't really hope to see the Steelers lose. We just got to earn our way into the playoffs because
Yeah.
our last year we made it for. We knew we were in. The year before,
The
CJ
thing is, we
Mosley with
still
the
have a
interception.
legitimate shot. We still have a legitimate shot too to make like number 1, 2, or 3 seed.
I'm gonna ask you this personally. I don't want to have the bye. I want us to go out there and prove ourselves and win it. How do you feel about that?
I mean, no, I definitely I agree. Of course, having that bye is just so crucial because in that time of the season, you've got guys who are hurt and who might need like an extra week. So I think that we could definitely benefit from that, especially this season more than ever. But I do kind of want us to kind of like go into the playoffs like with that underdog mentality, that chip on our
Yeah,
shoulder. So with that nothing to lose mentality, you know what I mean? Because we're at this point in the season, people are kind of like I don't want to say writing us off, but they're putting us kind of like we're not on the same pedestal that we were on last year. They're like, okay, the Ravens, they're not that good. They can be beat. They're not world beaters. We're not really worried about them. So let them sleep. Let them sleep. I
I
like I
like
like
that.
that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like we can go into the playoffs in the wild card. Beat up on a team in the wild card. Then boom, all of a sudden Lamar's got his first playoff win. Oh, what's going on now? And then the divisional game, and we win that. I'm just saying it could happen. So
Like the 2008 days, 2009 with Joe Flacco. We never had a home playoff game. We were on the road. I remember 2008 against the Titans.
hmm
We went on the road and we beat them, and then we made it to the AFC Championship game, and the Steelers they beat us. But that
yeah,
was the start of something that we knew we can build off of, and I like that. And I'm like, you know what? Why not go away to a stadium and win? Lamar gets his first playoff win on the road. It's not
yeah,
at home. So I just want to make the playoff. Because these past 2 years, it's losing in the first round. It doesn't sit right. And last year, I truly thought we had the chance to make the Super Bowl because nobody was stopping us. We beat the Rams 45-6 on their home
yeah,
turf on Monday night,
yeah.
and then we beat the Niners, beat the Bills, beat the Jets, beat the Browns, beat the Steelers. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then yeah, Derrick Henry happened. But here's the hoping this year and it's different. But I think coaching, well, we'll see. We'll have to see what coaching does
Yeah, we'll
because
definitely
it
have
killed
to
us
see.
last year.
Coaching did kill us last year. Also, we need Lamar to protect the football in those clutch
Agreed.
situations and those big games for sure. Um, but yeah, I think that last thing we can kind of touch on before we get out of here for our first episode of this show. I know we were talking about Des Bryant earlier,
Yeah.
and like Des, remember I was messaging you guys in the group chat about like y'all want to see Des get some as many raps as I do. I was like, going into that game, I was thinking, of course, he's probably not going to get like too many looks. I was thinking he would at least get something though, you know. And
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but he did not get any targets. He was really only in the game for like a couple plays, one or two
Yeah.
maybe.
I think
So
too.
yeah, 2 plays, and I
Yeah.
don't have an issue with it so far because I feel like you got to kind of like you got to make these guys like kind of buy into our system. So I agree. Yesterday, throw them in the game for a couple plays and tell them, hey, go block that guy on this play. You know, be a Raven first. Like, you're a part of this team now, and this is what we do. You know, you have to be comfortable doing this before you can go and be a superstar and do that, you know, and catch a bunch of balls and, you know, touchdowns and stuff like that. So I like the approach that we're taking. I want to see him work his way in a little bit more, maybe get a couple targets next week. But, you know, slow and steady wins the race when it comes to things like that. So I think we should definitely work them in a little easier. But what do you think, though?
100% agree. And you know what? Why not put Dez on one side, Boykin on the other, have them block? Because there's not many corners who are gonna push them away. I
Yeah,
definitely think they can definitely get their blocks easily. And what I liked a lot, people saying Dez would be a problem. He was happy to win. He was happy to be
yeah,
on the field.
yeah,
So, and I don't know if you saw him on the sideline. He went over to Lamar, talked to him. I mean, that's a team player.
right.
So I definitely think as the weeks go on, we'll see him more. And my prediction, I've been saying, he's going to score a touchdown against the Cowboys, and then X is going to come up. It's going to
Oh,
happen.
I would love that. Oh, I would
It
love that.
it's going to happen. I just feel like it's there. We haven't played him yet. He's on the team, and then he has one more practice squad call up. He'll probably get caught up against the Patriots, and we'll probably call it the active roster. But I
Mhm.
definitely think he'll make an impact sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, agreed, man. We need a guy like that. You know, we need like a big possession receiver to match up opposite Hollywood to give Hollywood some more opportunities, and then vice versa, so Dez gets more opportunities. You know, Austin Mingo says Dez is a big physical veteran receiver. Having him block would not be a bad idea.
Yeah,
So he agrees. Like that's yeah, it's a very good point. You know, Dez is a big guy. Miles Boykin is a big guy, and of course we
yeah.
have tight ends who can also block as well. Shout out Mark
And then
Andrews. Shout
Ricard
out Nick Boyle and Pat
and Ricard
Ricard.
too.
You know, forgot about
He'll
Project Pat.
he'll throw somebody to the ground and no issue.
Oh yeah, man. I like him too. I like him a lot.
Yeah,
But
our offense just has a bunch of people, so I'll take it.
I'll take it as well, man. We just we gotta figure out we gotta understand our personnel and use them to their strengths. But yeah, man. I think that's gonna do it for us tonight. This has been the first episode of the Simply and Sutton podcast. We might, you know, improve upon the name, do some different stuff with the name. So just be on the
Yeah,
lookout for that, right?
of course. And also, don't forget to sub. I know
Oh
we
yeah.
just started the channel out. We have 9 subs now. Let's hit that 10. Let's hit
Yeah.
double digits.
Small
Um,
goals.
and I don't know how often we'll do this. Definitely once a week, maybe
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
But this is fun, and I'd love to hopefully get maybe a Ravens player on here. You know, that'd be pretty cool.
Ooh.
That'd be pretty cool.
We get a
Um,
Ravens player, yeah.
yeah. But don't forget to drop a sub, drop a like, and as always, stay healthy, stay positive, test negative.
Yes, sir. I like that. I like that a
Yeah,
lot. Stay
I stole
positive,
that
test
from Pernell
negative.
McPhee, but I loved it.
I think I heard him say that. I might have heard him say that at some point. Was he like mic'd up or something or
I think it was one of his pressers. He said it. I'm like, you know
oh.
what? I like that, especially now. Stay positive, test negative.
I saw you tweet the Joker's mic'd up this week, right?
Yeah, him and
The
Anthony
Joker.
Levine. And Anthony Levine, he gets like no recognition. Without him, our special teams, like he's just everything. Like he had
Right.
2 big tackles yesterday, co-cap. Like I can't wait for the wire to come out this week. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't wait to see the Joker mic'd up as well with all
Ah,
his bro, I love the Joker, man.
man,
He's so cool.
like I'm so happy he got his chance because
Yeah.
and before I go, he absolutely laid out Jack Doyle yesterday. Clean hit. He sent him
Mm.
into concussion protocol. That's what we've been wanting from him.
That
We know
hard
he's a hard
hitting.
hitter.
Yeah.
I've missed that so much.
Absolutely. But this has been Sutton the Simply Show. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Like we might do one before the next game, maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, guys. Peace.
Peace.